Hello, and welcome back for another session of Voice Notes, a live journal where I talk things concerning a resolute mind. Today, I run through a somewhat tricky topic. Today's topic is titled Ball Parking. So, I'm going to quickly touch on some concepts around ball parking. Let's begin. Let me start off by first highlighting examples where one eyeballs his way through a response. Now, I am sure you have come across many times, especially when growing up as a child, raffle type games, where one was asked to guess the number of a particular item found in a jar. Can you guess how many cookies are in the cookie jar? What about candy? Can you guess the number of jelly beans found in this jar? I don't know about you, but I'm really not that great at guessing. But I stress. Though it be found in a game, estimation, or more so, the art of justimation, I do find quite useful in really tight and stressed situations. Being able to estimate or round off in a quick turnaround time can literally save someone. One doesn't have the time to count one by one, but just looking or watching is enough to suffice a pretty tight or press for time situation. Many may be able to naturally estimate in given situations. Sometimes even there is memory. One remembers how something may measure. Then there is the one who's quite astute with numbers. I am not she. So, how do I move from not really wanting to estimate to go for it and making quick moves when it comes to decision making? I reflect for a bit, and my only thought consolation is making use of much intuitive thoughts. I am not quick at vocalizing or even expressing what I see internally. There's usually a great pause before what is contained internally comes out externally. Though there is a delay between the internal and external communications, one thing remains the same, and that is where sight is concerned. I can see both internally and externally. Utilizing the last session's concept, where I talk about standards, it means that work is required to quickly match what I may see externally to more closely resemble that what I see internally. Vision helps me to order and to reorder my steps. Intuitive thoughts serve to bridge the gaps found between the inner and the outer. But now I ask myself, why do I need to estimate? And that is an important question. There are many reasons why estimations are required in situations, but I'm just going to tap into mainly one. But first, I want to make a personal note on the value of perception. Two persons can be looking at the exact object and yet leave with very differing observations. They could literally be watching the same image, and yet they can argue on deciding what color the image carries. This is life. Everyone looks through their own personal lens and see what they choose to see. Does it mean that what they see isn't actually there? No, I am not saying that. What I am saying is that life's dynamic nature allows for play on perception and differences in thought and reasoning. One may utilize this thought play to yield outcomes unimaginable. When one allows thought play, he may actually be able to stretch what he first thought he was not able to stretch, just by the value of perception. Now, what I'm going to talk about next may be perceived as a bit of a stretch, but I'm going there. Let's go. I talk about the concept of propagation. Here is where I actually wanted to direct my talk. I want to talk about propagation for a bit. Propagation is a very important concept and useful tool in life. Through its application, it helps to make one quite resourceful with the little he may indeed have. You may not have much material in this lifetime, but if you understand the concept of propagation, then the use of very little may actually carry you a very long way, all through points of survival. It is important to first use estimating to then apply propagating. Estimating identifies the material you have stacked. It may be food or water or some other material, but it identifies what you have as a starting point in a time of crisis. When it comes to measuring, that is, quick counting, one can factor in visualizing or perceiving the material at hand. He knows what he has right now. He may even think to himself that what he has right now is not sufficient or will not do. Perception, that is, thought perception, plays a critical role when it comes to sufficiency. Having the sight that what you have right now is sufficient allows sufficiency to have its way, and you will have enough at the end of the day. Now, this may not make sense to many, but when caught in a crisis, you only have one choice, and that is to think that you indeed have sufficient, and sufficiency will come. You will start to notice that what you may have eaten for 1 week may actually stretch for an entire month, or 2 months, or even longer. But it rests on perception and the sight or attitude that comes when resources are tight. What would have fed one can now feed many. One may use sight and belief that something can indeed stretch, and it will stretch. Visualization is a powerful mode to enter into when time is of the essence. From the internal mind, one may receive quick instructions, and he is only to follow what he sees. He does not need words in that moment. He is only to replicate and do what he sees, what he has been instructed to do. So in conclusion, I share this hidden gem with you. This is something that I have personally learned in my wilderness experience. Though I am not the estimator, I find marrying the act of eyeballing to internal sightings with intuitive action a very useful technique to stretch the contents thereof of whatever that may be. And I end on this note. A pretty tricky topic for me to talk about, but I made it to the end. I hope to see you for another talking session. Until next time. Adios.